Welcome and thank you all for joining us for this very special series of the Crexi Podcast, an insider's look at all things commercial real estate. I'm your host, Shanti Ryle, Director of Content at Crexi, and this is the Women of Influence series, delivering next-level insights and expertise live from GlobeSt's Women of Influence conference. And today we are thrilled to sit down with Jennifer Keene. A little bit about our guest. Jennifer is the Executive Vice President and Western Regional Manager for IPX 1031, which we will be talking about today, 1031s. During her 20-plus years in the real estate sector, Jennifer has served in numerous senior-level roles, I got that, all with a main emphasis on 1031 tax-deferred exchanges. Her expertise centers around structuring the technical aspects of such transactions and has expanded her skill set to managing and motivating the staff at the largest exchange company in the nation. Well done. Prior to joining IPX 1031, she was involved in the founding, creation, and development of the 1031 exchange companies ranging from small regional title companies to large Fortune 500 title operations. She regularly travels throughout the Western U.S. and is a frequent keynote speaker and educator to those interested in learning more about the nuances and complexities of exchange transactions, which we will be getting into today, as much as we can in our short time, and how that affects the real estate economy as a whole. She earned her degree from Cal Poly State University, San Luis Obispo. We love SLO. And is an affiliate member of organizations like NIOP, CREW, FEA, and CCIM, to name a few. Jennifer, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Shanti. That was nice. A nice introduction.
Yeah, we're so happy to have you here.
Thank
so excited
you.
to get into it. How's your conference been so far?
Oh, amazing. I think the most incredible thing are all the women that are here. First of all, I have a team of colleagues with me, and they said, how are there so many beautiful women all in one room? And then on top of it, they're also nice, knowledgeable.
Yeah, so smart, so giving.
Oh,
yeah.
It's amazing.
It's been so
and I've
wonderful.
Made best friends. I think I have 3 new best friends. I have a new neighbor. I have somebody that used to live in my area, and we know all the same people.
Yeah.
And it's a blast.
Yeah, we're having a lot of fun here, that's for sure.
Great.
So I'd love to, I know I just read off your bio.
Yes.
But I'd love to learn a little bit more in your own words, your story about how you got into commercial real estate, why stick with it, why 1031s in particular, which are huge in our industry for sure and very complicated.
Yep.
Tell us more about where you're from.
Okay. Well, I'll go to the beginning. I grew up in LA, and I went. I know. Yes, it was lovely. Glendale, La Cañada, Pasadena.
The Valley.
Yeah, the Valley. A total Valley girl. Oh my God. Yeah. And then went to Cal Poly, came back, and got a degree in a nutritional science degree.
Oh, wow.
And
very
then
different.
And then I went to San Diego, and I worked for Jenny Craig, and I was a corporate nutritionist for Jenny Craig. I know, everybody's like, what?
That's so fun.
How did that happen? And I worked on the menu plans, designed the menu plans for the United States, Canada, and Mexico, and did a lot of creative things there. It was interesting. And then one day I woke up and I said, I don't want to do this anymore. I hate this.
Oh, no.
I know. It was one of those things. I thought I was going to just have such passion for what I went to school for. I jammed in and out within 4 years and went straight to work.
Wow.
And then 6.5 years later, I was like, I'm out.
This isn't for me anymore.
No.
Wow.
So then I struggled for a year trying to think, what am I going to do next? And I had a friend who worked for Chicago Title in the Human Resources Department. And she said, we're hiring. And I said, well, I'll bring my resume over. And I dropped it off. And she goes, you don't have the experience that we're looking for.
And you're like, rude?
And I was like, okay, I'm super smart. I can figure things out on my own, and I'm driven. What more would you want from somebody? And she's like, well, let me pass your resume around. And so a lady took her chance on me, and I started doing commercial escrow.
Yeah.
I did that for 6 months, and I thought, you have got to be... This is the hardest job ever. I mean, I was crying at the desk.
Oh my
People
gosh.
are intense when they're doing real estate transactions.
Yeah,
the brokers,
there's a lot of money on the line.
There's a lot of money on the line. I didn't know all the ins and outs of it. I didn't understand. And my mentor, the lady that took her chance on me, would go to lunch and take extended lunches, and I'd be answering calls, and I'd be like, I don't know, maybe, sure, who
I'll
knows?
get back to you.
Yeah, you want a check? I don't know where the check is, right? I
yeah.
had no idea what I was doing. So my friend that worked in human resources said, oh, there's a job opening up with Security Trust Company, which was Chicago Title's original exchange division. And so I rode the elevator up and walked in there, and this gentleman was sitting, that was going to interview me, was sitting there. And I used to ride the elevator with him every morning. I didn't know his name, but I'd always be friendly and say, good morning, how are you? And he was like, it's you? And I said, it's you that I'm interviewing with? And he's like,
it's like a meet cute, but for business.
Yeah, totally. And I was like, all right. So
That's
that was my start to it. Yeah.
Amazing.
And then my journey was processing documents, learned from the ground up. It's a mentorship. So we talked a little bit this morning in our opening conference about starting over. Paying your dues. I don't know if paying your dues is the right phrase to use, but being able to humble yourself.
Humility is the word for sure.
Yeah. And taking it on the chin. I made less money then that I made being a swim coach in college.
Wow. At the title company.
At the title company.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So
It was hard. It was a lot of hard work, but it was a great opportunity, and I slowly worked my way up, and then I started doing sales, and then I did sales and marketing, and I had a business partner, and she and I worked together, and we had the best relationship, and grew things up. And finally, the last venture that I had created, it got purchased by another company, and then I said, I think I'm just going to try and find something else to do. I think I've done enough 1031 exchanges in my life.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then 3 months later, I got approached by Fidelity National Financial to come in and create a competitor to IPX, a competitor business.
Wow.
So I work for IPX today,
Yeah.
but they wanted me to create a separate company for them,
Interesting.
which I did.
Yeah.
And then,
What an interesting landscape.
That was a very interesting landscape. We
Yeah.
had not as many friends, and it was very challenging. And I was
Yeah.
put in a position that I accepted a role that I didn't understand necessarily what the challenges were going to be. I thought I would have support beyond belief because they already had a company, an exchange company, a 1031 exchange company.
Yeah.
So they would understand what I need, and they said, nope, you tell us
Good
everything.
luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I got.
Oh my gosh. So what next then? Like, how did you have to figure it all out? Did you, have to, again, kind of, to use the word humility, like really kind of get back to basics and figure out how the heck do I build a company? What tools did you pull out of your toolkit to build something from nothing?
It's a great question because I was in a position, I was a single mom. I had 2 kids at home, and I had to put food on the table and pay my rent. And it was tough. And so I figured out, well, I'm just going to do the best that I can do. And when I worked at Jenny Craig, if you have to talk to somebody about their weight and have a conversation about your health and longevity, it's a very sensitive subject. So they gave tools, they trained me very well on open-ended questions, which closed questions, how to maybe extract from somebody what they don't want to tell you, and to find your path there.
Sure.
So I used the skill set that I had. I didn't know it would be helpful, but it was.
Yeah.
And I found mentors in the business right away within the company. And Fidelity National Financial is the largest title company in the world.
Yeah.
So I was fortunate to find a mentor that really took me under his wings and said, this is what you're going to do. The gentleman that I reported to gave me the best words of advice that I live by today. Put your head down, do your job, and do the right thing. And everything else
will fall into place.
It will.
Yeah.
And in the times that I thought I was going to cry and give up and not know what to do next, I would just put my head down and focus on what I needed to do. And, lo and behold, I would always find myself right where I needed to be.
Absolutely.
I
love that.
Yeah. So Fidelity, so the company that I created we merged together with IPX and we became one big happy family, and that's where we are today.
That's the moral of the story.
The moral of the story is, just keep the faith alive and do what you know what to do best and be the best that you can be. And
absolutely,
being competitive is helpful, right? Knowing that you can strive to be better. You can always have that humility, where you just suck it up and you say, okay, I mean, today was a rough day, but tomorrow is going to be better.
Yeah, and so much of what you said there, I think, can be applied throughout one's career path.
100%.
Right? Whether you're just starting out or you're building a company after years of experience. So, I really appreciate those takeaways. I want to get into 1031 exchanges.
Okay. Oh no, now I'm never going to stop talking.
It's okay. That's what we're here for. So, a lot of our audience is pretty familiar with 1031.
Okay.
It is a bedrock of commercial real estate, being able to tax defer your capital gains. We love not paying taxes.
Deferring
immediately.
Taxes.
Immediately. Yes. We love paying taxes, not immediately. So I would love to know, just based on the projects you're working on right now in the last couple of years and maybe that you have in the pipeline, what does the state of the market look like in terms of 1031 exchanges? Who is doing them? What property is being exchanged for what other kind of property? Can you give us like a 30,000-foot overview?
Sure, I'd be happy to.
Yeah.
So, I spoke at the main panel this morning, and people were saying it's high interest rates, deals are down, right? And we're not seeing as many big commercial transactions moving, or we haven't been, but there's deal junkies out there that can't not do a deal. They just can't. And so fortunately, we know a lot of those people. So we focus 100% with investors, and statistically speaking, an exchange client or exchange investor needs 31% less debt than a non-exchange customer or taxpayer investor.
Because they have the
deferred taxes and that's how the section of the tax code was created, actually to help U.S. citizens buy more U.S. real estate. So they created Section 1031, allowing them kind of like what you would quote unquote call a tax-free loan from the government.
Sure.
Saying move that and put it more into U.S. real estate because it generates
opportunity.
The economy keeps moving that way. So without it, real estate churns so much. It's incredible how much revenue it generates for the government. I mean, $20 billion a year from 1031 exchanges.
Wow.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of money.
And when they talk about wanting to repeal it or change it or whatever, they came up with a number of, just under $2 billion a year. So why change it? You wouldn't want to change what works, right? What do they say? Don't.
It's income.
It's not broken, so don't fix it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So who's doing the deals? Well, multifamily is big right now, obviously. That's who we see in commercial real estate making deals happen. Industrial. There's a lot of opportunity in industrial with warehouses, data centers, distribution centers, e-commerce, and the growth there is really an active area of investment. Office, not quite as great. They've tried to do some things with office, but it's tough. It's a tough sector right now of the market.
It's expensive to do redevelopment too.
So expensive. The ventings for kitchens, the plumbings for bathrooms, the visionary aspects there. They're wonderful to think about, but I don't know
practicality. It's a different question.
Application is tough. So what we have seen, and we talked about this morning as well, is a lot of commercial real estate investors have turned to residential homes to purchase for rent.
As income properties.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we've had investors pool together funds and, buy hundreds of homes together in a portfolio and then rent those out. And then they'll 1031 exchange those individually as time comes about.
The portfolio or each property?
Each property.
Whoa.
Because they're all individually, they're under an ownership.
Yeah.
Don't ask me how they structure it all technically, but it works. And we have those investors.
Wow.
And so when they have homes that they want to sell, it's, hundreds of exchanges that happen.
Oh my gosh, that's so much work for you guys.
We have to have one person dedicated to just handling those types of transactions because they're so massive.
Yeah, yeah.
But an interesting thing, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I want to get a little bit more, I want to be mindful of your time because there's a lot more conference to get to
Yes.
as well. But just kind of touching on demographic shifts as well. You know, I've talked to some other guests on the podcast before who do 1031s. And I'm curious your thoughts. You know, there's a generation of real estate owners that are deciding they no longer want to be in real estate anymore, whether that's like passing property down to descendants who maybe don't want it, or they're just, I'm tired of property management, just get me out of here, get me a triple net somewhere else. I'm curious what role you see all of us aging, for lack of a better phrase, play.
No,
in-
Shanti,
in
don't
sense of-
say
I
it.
know,
Don't say it.
we are not aging at all.
No, I haven't aged in 20 years. so-
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Please don't say so. So, well, let's see. I mean, I'm really passionate about a few different things. When we talk about the generations that are now getting tired of being in real estate, there's a couple options. And they could sell. Sometimes as commercial brokers, we're thinking, how are we going to get somebody off the fence and sell the property? Because we need transactions to move and happen. People are looking for that. So how do we get them off the fence? We need to make sure they can find a replacement property they're going to be interested in having. Maybe they don't want to deal with the tenants' toilets and trash anymore. Maybe they want to retire and have a passive income stream coming in, collect a check. One check comes to their mailbox once a month or gets auto deposited into their account.
Yeah.
And that would be something such as like a Delaware statutory trust. Like you could sell your commercial real estate, get into a DST, and now they have a passive approach to real estate. That could be a permanent thing where they go from one DST to another DST, or they can exchange 1031 out of that DST and go back into commercial real estate. We've also had investors. We just had a client, he was 90 years old. He owned 20 different properties in his neighborhood. He had 3 kids who had no interest in managing 20 different properties. And they lived in different parts of the country. And so we worked with him, and he would sell 3 or 4 properties at a time and exchange into like a triple net retail property. And a Jack in the Box, a 7-Eleven, and that way, and his kids then would have an investment that they don't really have to manage day to day, and more collect that passive income in a way. So that was a successful deal, because you don't want to have somebody that's 90 years old with 20 different properties sell them and pay all the tax due, because that's a big ticket.
That's a lot of money.
A lot of money that their heirs might be interested in having.
Yes.
So making sure you either invest it that way, or you don't sell them and you swap till you drop. That's what we say. Swap till you drop. Yeah,
I love
know.
it. That's a great catchphrase.
So, and then the heirs get a step up in basis, and then they could sell it the next day and not have that significant tax bill.
Absolutely.
So tax strategies are very, very important. Talking to somebody that has that insight, that knowledge, the experience is so key.
Yeah, 100%. And, I think that's a good place to leave off, because I was going to ask, where can our listeners get in touch with you if they want your expertise?
Oh,
follow
my
you on
gosh.
social. Give us all the ways to connect with you.
The easiest and fastest way is just to go to our website, www.ipx1031.com, and go to nationwide locations. We're the largest qualified intermediary in the country. We've got offices throughout, and sales executives that are happy to chat the chat, talk the talk, speak the speak.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn,
Instagram,
Facebook,
all the good ones.
All the good ones,
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sitting down with me, Jennifer. Really
You're so
appreciate it. This has
welcome.
been a great conversation.
It was. Thanks, Shanti, so much.
Yes, and we'll have to
Pleasure.
have you on for a longer one.
Yeah,
next
I can
time.
talk.
I can too. I know. The unfortunate thing about these interviews is that they're tragically short.
Yes.
But we will have you back on very shortly. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
again.
Yeah.
And thank you everyone who tuned in today. If you enjoyed this episode, do not miss the next one in our Women of Influence series. Visit Crexi.com/podcast and sign up to get the next episode delivered straight to your inbox. You can also subscribe to the Crexi Podcast on your favorite podcast app, or check out our YouTube channel for video recordings of each episode. Take care, and be sure to tune in next time.